Hello, welcome to the Falcon, a footy podcast. I'm your host, Clarky.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Jess.
It's round 2, guys, and mysteriously, there's a whole section of this podcast missing involving a certain 2 teams that played each other. I don't know. You'll have to listen and see if it's there.
Put it in.
Well, guys, we're back again. Round 2 is in the books, and turns out football was cancelled for one team this week. I don't know which team, but maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't. Maybe there'll just be a big old cut instead of talking about one or possibly 2 of our teams that played this week.
Wait, I want to talk about it.
Well, of course you want to talk about it. How are you guys doing?
Well, pretty good. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Clarkson.
That's right. It is. We're recording on my official day of birth. And you know what?
As opposed to your unofficial.
Well, there's the birthday week, and then there's the birthday month.
Yeah,
both of which are recognized by the state, but they're not national holidays yet.
right. I'm good.
So, you see how it is.
I feel like the only way you could have made that more formal is if you referred to it as your government date of birth.
Yes, no, I would if I was cooker type, going off the grid.
Okay, Warren Trent, right?
Yeah, I've got my sovereign birthday, and then I've got my court appointed birthday. I don't know what. Anyway, it's my birthday. I was very spoiled by Jess and my daughter, and we had a really wonderful day.
Oh, lovely. I had a wonderful day for you today. Went down to Sandringham Beach today.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Good day for it.
Yeah, it was a lovely day.
Look. There's a few things that we should probably talk about during the week. One of them that we've got listed here is, hey, Jonathan Brown, posted about his ongoing journey in a fight against a cancer scare.
Yeah.
That's what we got listed here.
I think it was quite sudden. By the sounds of things, he posted this week, just had a routine scan and they found a shadow on his brain that was just a low-grade brain tumour. He was kind of sent straight into surgery by the sounds of it, and it all went well and according to plan. But yeah, that's a bit scary, and he's so beloved, Jonathan Brown, so he was kind of flooded with well wishes on the internet. But yeah.
It's one of those things where when you hear anything to do with the brain, it's like, how can that possibly be low grade?
Mm.
How is there a low grade for this? It just seems like they should all be high grades, but I'm glad it was what they've referred to as a low grade tumor.
Well, you see, the government invented the low grade when I was born 34 years ago, and they were like, "Ooh, look at that brain! That's a low grade one. We got. It's not even reaching that medium tier." I was very happy to hear that it all went okay, and it kind of made me realize something that I hadn't really thought about before. That was like, I kind of really like Jonathan Brown. I think he's kind of one of those commentators and one of those panelists. Even just as like a general personality that I'm like, I find you like really inoffensive and quite entertaining. Like you haven't ever done anything that's earned my ire compared to so many other commentators. So I noticed his absence more then when I was like, oh, okay, he's going through some medical things. I feel like I haven't heard a lot from him, and that makes much, much more sense.
I had the same reaction as well. I was like, oh yeah.
It's the same with Mel McLaughlin on Channel 7. She does less footy stuff and more like other sports, doesn't she? Cricket and
She's more cricket and soccer.
But yeah, she's going through some lung cancer treatment. So yeah, I noticed she disappeared from a few things, and then they explained why.
Yeah, that's really terrible. And hey, from us here at the Falcon to Mel and JB, hey, we love you. Get better soon. Keep fighting that good fight. But there's a lot of other fighting that's going on, as we had 6 hamstrings killed in broad daylight across all games across the whole weekend. No more hamstrings. The government.
This is at least 6. Again. At least 6. There may have been more. I don't know if Griffin Logues was a hamstring. I don't know what happened with him. He was gone about 30 seconds into the game.
I've heard some rumblings about Josh Worrell and Rory Laird as well, also dealing with injury, but that might not be a hamstring.
No, they weren't hammies. Worrell was an ankle, Laird was a calf.
Yeah.
Which Laird did his in the first quarter and then still played out the rest of the game. Much like Tom Liberatore, who did his hammy in the third quarter
And we found out about it 4 days later.
Yeah, still played out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He's so old he had to get the results by regular mail. Couldn't deliver them digitally.
He found out 4 days after the game, got a letter and was like,
that's what it was.
That's why I'm a bit sore.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I'm a little bit stiff.
So I'm not a sporty person myself. I wouldn't say I run very much at all ever. I would.
Go on.
And I've always wondered, like, surely if tearing a hamstring is so bad for you, why don't they just stretch more or make it so they don't tear?
You know what? You're right, Kaz.
I don't know.
Why don't they just be better?
If tearing a hamstring is so bad, why doesn't the AFL simply ban it?
Just ban it. Just don't do it.
Ban injuries. And
make a new rule. Make a new no hamstring tearing rule.
No hamstring tearing rule. Now, just to list off the names for those of you who are uninitiated or did not see all of the games we have, Connor Rozee is confirmed out for 3 to 6 months because he tore his hamstring tendon.
Yeah,
which is like that's not good.
Well, he said after the game, because it was odd watching it. It was actually, side note, there was a very funny moment because he clearly could not walk, and Ken Hinkley, who was doing special comments at the time, former Port Adelaide coach, said, "Oh no, it's just cramp." And the other commentators were like, "I don't think that's cramp. That doesn't really look like cramp. He can't put any weight on his leg."
And Ken, can you tell me about your credentials in the medical? Nah, he's good. You reckon Ken's bias?
Well, the scary thing with what Connor Rozee said after the game is that he said he's done a hammy before and like this felt different. And he said that his leg almost went completely numb. That was why they originally thought it was nerve damage. Yeah. And he said that was why he couldn't really put any weight on it. And then as he started, they were trying to get him off the ground. As he started moving, he said that all of a sudden he just felt pain, basically.
Have either of you ever done a hamstring before?
I haven't done a hammy, but I did tear my calf last year whilst running in the escape room. Yeah,
famously on the Falcon.
Yeah. So right. If it's anything like that, it literally just felt like a rubber band snapping.
I've torn both ankles playing basketball at different times, but that's my claim to pain.
Well, you could just do what I do. Don't play sport. Don't get hurt.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, I stopped playing sport, right? So this is...
There you go.
So Jess raised the question the last time that I seriously injured my ankle. Like, I couldn't walk on it for, like, months. She raised the question. She's like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
Because I drive a manual car as well.
Oh, you need both legs.
Yeah, so I need both legs. And I came home and I'm, like, trying everything possible to hide it. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. That's fine. I'm like limping, and it's like, "What have you done?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just a bit stiff." Tough game of sport.
I
just feel like Tom Liberatore.
I remember my dad coming home from soccer and just hobbling for days, and I was like, "Why do you put yourself through this?"
Well, so I retired. I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm retiring the jersey. Like, you know what? I'll go to the gym instead. You know, that's fine. I'll give up the basketball because clearly too clumsy for this." Anyway, 34 years old, and I have a bulging disc from picking up one of my many dogs.
I thought you could say your toddler.
No, you know what? Surprisingly, not my baby. She gave me tennis elbow.
She's a real. It's her form. You know, you're constantly chasing.
Sorry, this is completely unrelated to the injuries that have happened, but I actually realized my dad growing up. Everybody kind of probably has this, right? Dad's strength. I always wondered where that came from, like, how it sort of naturally built. And my dad had massive hands because he just spent all of his life. He loved working with his hands. He loved gardening. He loved tinkering in his shed with electronics, and just one time he was like, "I'm just going to rebuild this engine." And I'm like, "Do you have any expertise?" He's like, "Nah, I bought this big book," slapping a big book of generic Toyota Camry information. But he always had massive forearms and stuff. I was like, where does this come from? It doesn't feel like general. No, it's lifting up my daughter. She's anywhere between 10 to 11.5 kilos, right? And I'm picking her up. I'm having to pick her up with one hand, multiple times in a 10-minute span because I'm in the kitchen cooking. And she just comes up and her thing is arms up and she goes, "Cuddle?" And I'm like, of course you get a cuddle. You're the most adorable thing to ever exist.
But and the other thing is they're gradually getting bigger. And so you don't realize how much heavier they're getting because,
you're increasing your
with them.
weights.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's why Chris is jacked because his kids are older. You can't see it, listeners, but Chris could flex out of his shirt.
I'm at the point where if they ask for me to pick him up, I'm like, no, it's not happening.
I can't
Go
do
pick your
another
brother
calf.
up.
Yeah, I'll tear my calf if I do that.
Now, Connor Rosie is out for the long term. We also have, Callum Archie also achieved a 4-week injury to his hamstring.
I think it's 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
So what happens when you try to take out a third gamer in Lockie Jakes?
We'll get to that, Chris. we'll get to your grievances. We also had on that list Tom Lynch,
Yeah.
Toby Nankervis, I hope you guys get better soon. And probably the most high-profile one, Christian Petrarca, out for a medium-term 4 to 6, won't get to face Melbourne, which I was surprised a lot of Melbourne fans were kind of disappointed by because I thought we were all past that, guys. I thought we were all being the bigger people, but no. Out 4 to 6 with it. He was another one that it seemed really like innocuous, and then they just put him on ice because they were like, no, we've got the bye next week. Don't bother playing the second half. Just go chill. Go do some cooking or whatever. Relax, Petrarca, relax. Oh, no. I feel bad, but also I was kind of like,
Well, I've seen a lot of people saying, like, what did you expect when you made a fast-paced game or, like, an already fast-paced game faster by changing the rules and stuff like that? I don't know. I kind of feel like this is one of those moments where in the past we always say the AFL is a bit too knee-jerky and they change the rules and they change the format of the game because one thing happens. I kind of feel like this is just happening. We're all talking about it because they were all relatively high-profile names. If they were all rookies, no one would be batting an eyelid at how many hammies were done on the weekend.
Almost all of Essendon was injured last year and nobody cared.
Exactly.
Nobody cared except,
yeah, exactly.
3 people.
I just feel like we're all talking about it because they're all well-known names and everyone's going, oh, there's all these hammies. We've got to change something. This is what happened when you change the game. No, just fucking leave it. Like, this is what the AFL always does. Just fucking leave it.
Well, it's like, and look, this isn't to say that like they brought it on themselves or like there's anything wrong with that, but correlation isn't causation. They just, like, the game is faster, yes, but also this is the whole point of pre-season training is strength and conditioning to...
What did I say? If you don't want your hamstring strung, just be better. I don't know. Stretch it or something.
If you don't want your hamstring strung.
They do call the hamstring the harp of the leg.
Can you imagine me going down into the clubs and being like, all right, guys, the game is faster now. It's faster and you don't want your hamstring strung.
Stretch more.
Stretch more and just don't do it.
I like to think that in your office, in the office where you're clearly the new medical coordinator, there's like a blown up like Google image of a medical degree, but it's so blown out that the pixels are like all bleeding into
and
one
I'm just
another.
like,
You can't make
white outed whoever's name it actually was and handwritten Cassandra Daly on it.
You should have given this advice to Fifey last year when he kept doing his calf in the warm up. Just don't do it, Fifey.
Hey,
just warm up more.
If you want to play and you want to retire with more than 250 games, just warm up more and don't do your calf. Done.
There you go.
That's me dusting my hands of that situation.
That's the AFL documentary done and dusted.
And speaking of done and dusted, we'll go, Chris, let's talk about your doggies who got it done and dusted against the Adelaide Crows in... There was a lot of things going on in this game, so I'm going to leave it to you. Where do you want to start?
We've actually started the season well.
No, the hope.
3-0 with the bye this week. And then we have Essendon the week after.
Oh, that's nice for you.
I know, it's fucking great. Yeah, 2 buys.
But the second one, you get a point.
Historically, we start the season like shit, and then we end up giving everyone a heart attack by almost making finals because we go on a massive run at the end of the year. Bevo's just decided to switch it up this year for some reason. He's like, no, I bet we start the season well. Let's try something different.
Well, if we're watching the game, it was really touch and go of whether or not you guys were actually going to get this one.
It was a weird game because it felt like for the first 3 quarters, even though the margin, I think the biggest margin it got out to was maybe 20 points, 24 points. It felt like we were in control for pretty much the entire game. Even though Adelaide was still relatively close, they were about 2-3 goals the whole game. It felt like we were in control. And then that last quarter, when there was about 8 minutes left and Rankin kicked that goal to give them the lead, I thought we were done. I thought we had run out of legs and they had just hit momentum at the right time. And this goes back to what I said after the win over Brisbane. The big thing is that a team got a run on against us late, hit the lead, and we actually fought back, which over the last 3 or 4 years, that's something that's been our biggest issue, is we just can't stop teams getting a run against us. So it was a good game to watch. The backline again, Roy Lobb, Buku Kamas just looks like a changed player. So yeah, it was a good game to watch. There was obviously some interesting things with Ben Keays and a member of the crowd when there was about 2 minutes left, maybe about 90 seconds left. Adelaide were up and the ball went out and Ben Keays deliberately told the fan not to give the ball back to waste time, and the fan did that a couple times, and then I think
they gave him a little thumbs up afterwards. Be like,
yeah. I read today that apparently the AFL have issued not a please explain, but not an official warning, but they've essentially told Adelaide that if this happens again, then they will get a please explain. So yeah, they've told Ben Keays don't do it again, basically.
And he said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he's like, we're going to be in that very specific scenario plenty of times this season, so I'm going to do it more.
I really wonder what it's like to be the first guy to invent something that then the rule is the rule is changed.
I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Like in the moment, to think to do that. Who I've never seen a player do that. Yeah,
does the timer not stop?
I don't think it does now if it's a last possession out of bounds.
Because it was a free kick, not
a whistle. Yeah, it wasn't a throw-in, it was a last possession out of bounds with the new rules. So I don't think the timer stops now if it's last possession out of bounds.
That's interesting. Okay. Because I was wondering, if obviously I assumed that the clock didn't stop, but I would have thought this feels like a clock stop scenario.
But I feel like we didn't know. Wasn't that one of the points of the game when the clock wasn't up?
I can't remember.
I think that was one of the points of the game where we're like, how much time do we have anyway? We can't even tell.
Very close. It was very close around that time where I think it came back maybe just after that. And so for listeners, did you notice that the clock stopped working? Time stopped for the Adelaide and Bulldogs game. It was I
messaged the thread, our thread just being like, where's the clock? Thinking it was just a KO thing, but apparently it was an everywhere thing.
Yeah, there was some sort of stuff up with the false technology. Yeah.
We could have looked into it more in this podcast, but we chose not to.
Well, like I was watching an AFL, something on the AFL app. It was Xander Maguire and Kate McCarthy, some little show that they present. And Kate McCarthy was saying, this reminded me of the 5-minute warning back in the day, bring it back. It created a whole new sense of theatre. I fucking hated it because it was a close game and I was like, what is going on? How long is left? Yeah. It caused so much confusion. Don't do it again.
I used to love when you were at the games before the app existed and before the app would tell you how long was left and not knowing. I would have to text someone at home and be like, how long's left? How long's left? How long have we got? Because, Fremantle would always leave it to the last 30 seconds to win a game or not. And it would be a minute 30 or something. You'd have to text back. And then you'd be the one telling everyone around you, we've got a minute 30 because it's so stressful. No, I much prefer to know.
So I didn't realize that the clock stopped for everyone. So even the people in the coach's box didn't know how much time was left. And you know what the weirdest thing about this whole thing is? That this was one of 2 times this happened over the weekend, and it was still somehow the least controversial despite also being at a crucial part of the game. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like this one affected the results, I guess. Back to the Ben Keays thing. How do we feel like it was good? Do we feel like it was cheeky?
I think because I'm partial. If my team was playing, I would be furious like that. If he'd done it against my team, I would be so mad. But because I was sitting back and watching, I was like, haha, that was cheeky. But no, in the moment, I would hate that.
I did not think it was cheeky.
Chris, how did you feel?
I thought it was a fucking dog move.
I have seen you throw some choice words around about this conduct with Mr. Keays. I thought, did we not vote that Ben Keays was a good boy? Or
That's what I thought. I thought he was like a nice guy.
Now he's a villain.
No, and that's how quickly things can change on the Falcon. I also agree. I didn't love it. I think it was funny, but I didn't love it. Like, I was knowing that there were implications to it. I don't think that you can allow that. But you can't allow the fans to affect the outcome in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
And I saw Kane Corns absolutely love this, and that's good enough for me to say that this is fucking wrong. That's good enough for me. Am I skirting for time because I don't want to talk about the other team's games?
What's the other game? Do you want to talk about my team's game?
What was the other game?
Maybe we can jump to the other clock glitch game if you guys want.
No, let's talk about my team's game.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's talk about my
Cass,
team.
it's my birthday.
We don't have to mention your team if you don't want. We can just talk about my team.
Well, so we didn't realize this last week when we were talking about the Clark household was very vocal about our belief in the new Ds, not realizing that in fact this week was the first Falcon host showdown of the year between Freo and Melbourne. I was very much less confident leaving that podcast looking at the fixture and going, because my other co-host of the Footy Mailbag is also Damo, known Freo supporter. And oh boy, it shows that non-belief was correct. And so Cass, I'll give you as the gracious winner of the first host showdown, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. Fremantle smashed Melbourne. The end.
Yeah. And Cass will be cut from the rest of this.
No, I think we very similar start to the previous week's game against Geelong, where we just kind of came out and kicked a lot of goals, which is not what we were doing last year, that's for sure. Last year we were from behind and then trying to scramble back. So yeah, it was kind of impressive.
It was
from
like
the start.
7-1 in the first quarter. Crazy. Yeah. Just honestly, we could not keep you guys out. It was all wild.
Yeah. And then was it the start of the second quarter? We made it almost the whole way through the quarter without a goal. Almost. And then we scored 2 right at the end. But yes, it was a fun game to watch. And then, it's one of those games that also got a bit boring at the end. It was kind of like, all right.
Oh, yeah. I think it's very funny that Melbourne decided to try and tag Sarong and do nothing about Brayshaw.
Brayshaw went off.
He does play very well against Melbourne.
I saw Tolstrup on Sarong and I'm like, okay, cool. He's doing the job. Everybody in the box is like, yeah, he's doing the job. He's keeping him tied down. And then meanwhile, it's like I look over at Andy Brayshaw kicking his third goal and I'm like, should we get a guy on him? Should we find another guy? Like, Jess and I were like incensed by that first quarter. Like, not to Fremantle did the correct thing by absolutely destroying it, and Melbourne did the worst thing possible of, hey, maybe you don't win games by letting a team kick 7 goals against you in the first quarter and then let them maintain that lead all the way through the game. Jess.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if
I
Jess
don't
wanted
want
to
to talk about it.
Jess doesn't want to talk.
I don't want to say a word about it because I didn't even watch the last quarter of the game because I was so angry.
I went back and watched it later, but Jess and I were looking at each other like, we got some other stuff we could be watching if you're... I think I had to put Elsie to bed. My our daughter, and I did that, and then I came back out at the end of the third quarter when you guys had just kicked another 5 goals or something crazy like that, and I was like, it's not going well. So we started watching the reality check America's Next Top Model documentary that's on Netflix.
You're not getting out of talking about this game. Let's keep talking about this game. I have also watched the America's Next Top Model show. We can talk about that off mic. Yeah, it's funny because we allowed you to name last week's episode Flag D's. So I would like you to allow me to name this episode. Sorry, what were you saying?
I believe that the wheel decided that's what it was called.
Okay.
And there is a screenshot in our chat that shows the wheel of names.
I do
Should
like
we get to the controversy?
I like how quickly we've gone from we may never lose again to I didn't even watch the last quarter.
Yeah, it was very good.
I said we may never leave again if we play like we played in round one. It was like half the team showed up this week. It was diabolical. Like and I think that's what frustrates me the most about Melbourne is that they're really inconsistent with that stuff, and it drives me bananas because it's like watching somebody who you know is so capable and they're just lazy at times, and you're like, how are you so sloppy? This is your full-time job. Like come on, you've literally got a new coach. Everything's in your favor. Like you could be doing so much better. And every time we play Freo, we just get absolutely served. Like it's getting really old now.
It's so interesting, isn't it? How there's just some teams that they've just got your number and they just know. And like I think Freo just knows when they play Melbourne, we can smash these guys. Doesn't matter the team who it's made up of, they just have that mentality of
we were just completely rattled from like as soon as we walked out on the ground. I don't know if they just let it overwhelm them in the rooms before they even walked out. And I mean, I knew it was going to be bad because it wasn't a home game, but like it was just so much worse than I thought it was going to. Like I would have been okay if we lost, but like those 7 goals in the first quarter, like that just set the tone for the rest of the game. And I was like, nah, there's no coming back from this. We can't pull what we did to Brisbane last year or whenever it was the year before. It felt really crappy again. And I think we've both said, like me and Josh, like at least if they're trying and things seem to be working and you can mistakes happen and that's all good. But like at least if they're putting the effort in, like that's okay. You go, well, look, it's like a rebuild or whatever we're going through, all good. But watching them just make really shit decisions and like they were just like real jittery. Like they just didn't know what they were doing. And I think it was a real poor example of what talent we actually have. And I think maybe we just never play Freo again and then we'll be fine.
Speaking of talent, I do want to shift the tone a little bit because Jess and I could commiserate and make excuses till the cows come home. Daniel Turner, one of our key defenders, got injured in the first quarter, guys, and then we tried our best. But I want to talk about my favorite forward in the league at the moment, and he reminds me every week. Josh Tracy. Tracy? I always forget how to pronounce it. Tracy. I always say Tracy and then feel like I should say. Josh Tracy is my favorite forward in the AF. I think he is so good at what he does, and it's just so nice to see him achieve that potential. Like he gives me vibes of what I always hope Van Rooyen can do, which he did last week. But also, I remember there were some talks of us trying to get him from Freo a few years ago as part of maybe the Luke Jackson deal or something like that. And I was like, yeah, take that guy. That guy's good. I like him. And obviously they didn't. And now he's fantastic, Cass.
He's so good. It's just what we need. It's I think it's what we thought Jai Amos might be like, but Tracy's taken over and Amos has kind of faded away a little bit.
Amos with the most ironic and then most apt name in the AF.
Everyone calls him Nev, but I whispered to my friend last week, I don't like calling him Nev because...
You should call him Al.
Sometimes he does. Oh, miss. Al, miss. Yes, Josh Tracy is primo. Very happy. Very happy with him. Just, it all just kind of worked on the weekend. And I'm just going to say his name again, just Murphy Reid. Just is such a smart player and he's so fun to watch. Sometimes he does these little handballs and little chip kicks and you're like, and it just hits the person instantly. And you're like, how did you think to do that in that moment? These boys are so clever. So it was a nice thing to watch for once. No, not for once. Let's stay positive this year.
For once. It was nice for once. Who are you guys up against this week?
I forgot to look.
You're playing Richmond. Okay, yeah, all good. You're playing Richmond at Optus. You'll be fine.
Let it roll.
Let it roll.
At Optus again.
Yeah, there's so much to look forward to. I really hope that Freo can maintain that consistency because it feels like it's been building for you guys for a while. Like Melbourne, they're rebuilding. They're young. Freo just punished us for the mistakes that we made against St Kilda. And punishing bad ball use is something that good teams do, right? Like, and Freo 100% did that every opportunity they got, and that's That's how you win games. Like, it's not just about doing the hard work. So, I don't know. I'm not going to learn anything different about you guys playing Richmond, though. Should we talk about the controversy? I want to talk about the biggest dick in the AFL. So, Patrick Voss. Yeah. Take that however
talking
you want,
about the
listeners.
game.
Yeah, take that however you want, listeners. We'll figure it out along the way. The biggest chest.
Clarky's got his tape measure out.
He's got the tape measure out. Patrick Voss. So he's been fined for taunting and unsportsmanlike conduct against Harrison Petty for rubbing on his bald spot. Call it what it is, rubbing on his bald spot. Listeners, if you haven't seen the footage, essentially it's was it quarter time break? Or maybe halftime break. So Harrison Petty's there. Look, Fossey had been giving him a bit, been really showing him up the afternoon. He goes over, rubs Harrison Petty's bald spot. Petty swats him away. Voss goes back to the well a couple of times and keeps on touching him. Things get a little bit heated.
Didn't he also,
and then,
he made
when he was finally separated, he did the cry, fists against the eyes, like the cry thing, and then walked away.
What was that in reference to with Harrison Petty?
I imagine it's from when Dane Zorko accused Petty of being such a crybaby because he was having a tough time with his mum being ill.
Oh, yeah, I remember when Zorko did that dick thing.
So, this is where I'm at odds. Was Vossi doing the cry because Petty was... In that moment, does Patrick Voss go, Zorko did this to Petty last time, I'm going to do it to him? Or did he just do the crybaby action, like, oh, I'll have a sad to some random guy?
I think it could be either, because it's not... Brisbane have done it since then to Petty again. Like, it's like a ongoing, not meme, but like an ongoing sort of thing against Petty where it's like, oh yeah, like that's what people know him for because Zorko had to come out and apologize. I also don't really care about that bit. I was like, it could be taken either way. Voss was obviously trying to get under his skin and it was working. I think the part that really missed the mark and probably the result of the fine wasn't just the crying. It was like the rub his head once and give him a bit of like yeah, you suck. I'm doing better than you. But he went back to the well, right? It was the multiple touches. I think that's what really did him in because Petty was obviously like, yeah, don't touch me. Don't go back and start rubbing people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting because Dawson did the same thing to Darcy on the weekend.
Yeah, should be
at one point.
Apparently,
he went up to him and like in that like smart ass way was rubbing his head after. I think it was right after they'd kicked a goal and they'd started their comeback.
Was it one time? Did he go back to the well?
I mean, you can't really reach up that high on Sam Darcy more than once. Like he'd already put the step ladder away at that point. Couldn't bring it back out to go do it again. Yeah.
So we'll just go around the room quickly. Like, okay, not like, was the fine appropriate, not appropriate? I'll start with Cass. Obviously, the bias. We'll start with the biased people and then get the non-biased response.
I don't think a fine for this makes any sense at all. It's really when you say like taunting is just there's sledging, there's like a bit of fun, there's what I'm at odds about it because I just can't put my words together. I don't think he should have been fined for it. And I'm saying that because he's on my team, sure, but it's if he had been saying, "Oh, Harry Petty, you're a crybaby who cried because your mum was sick," okay, that's fucked. Like, no, he's allowed to cry if he's being teased because his mum is sick. You're allowed to cry about that. If he's saying "wah, cry about me picking on you," that's it's a completely different thing. That's how they play the game and kind of rile each other up, isn't it? Like I mentioned earlier, I don't play sports, but I believe sledging and making fun of each other is part of it, is it not? To a degree?
Jess, you also don't play sports. How do you feel about this?
I think that footballers need to realise that they are actually role models for a lot of people, a lot of young children and stuff. And I don't think it's appropriate to be doing things like that. Like a bit of teasing, sure. But I think like harassing someone like that is not okay. And I don't think it's very sportsmanlike. I think they should be role modelling being like good sportsmen. Yes, you can like a little bit of tussling, sure, like that's the game, all good. But I don't think it's okay to normalise like being a cunt. Like, I just don't think that's okay.
I think there's also a big difference in there being, I'm changing my thoughts now, an action that everyone can see, because there would be so much said on that field that we don't hear.
Oh, for sure.
We don't hear it. It all just happens. It's all just part of it for them. But for us, we don't hear it. Whereas this is something that we could all see. So
we have literal facts that show the worst things that footballers have said on the field have not been recorded.
And that's what they say as well. They're like, oh, shit was being said all day. Yeah. So it's interesting.
I kind of sit halfway between where I'm like, I am aware of my own bias, where I think if this was two neutral teams, I'd probably be like, that's a bit of he's being a dick, but, whatever. But because it was, I like Freo. I think of Freo as like a very sister team to Melbourne in terms of like a team, especially like the end of the Simon Goodwin era, where it was like a team full of potential that really was struggling to meet that. So I also have a lot of love for them. So I'm kind of like this doesn't feel like a very Freo. Like I said, my verdict is he shouldn't have gone back to the well. Mm-hmm. If it was one rub, I would have been like, whatever. Like he's just having a go. And he did something else later this game that I don't think was mentioned at all in the sanctions, where he picked up Ed Langdon like he was going to WWE power slam him into the crowd or something like that.
He bench pressed him.
But I think that one was actually okay because Langdon was holding on to him. Like Langdon was
had a little giggle at the end.
That's what Jess is talking about, where like Jess, like, if they're doing a bit of wrestling or whatever, and like he's mucking around.
Well,
Langdon was smiling. Like there was no bad blood in it for either of them. Like they were both just laughing about it, right? Like,
but you see that a lot where you do see them kind of like rile each other up a bit, but like even afterwards, you see them like they're all good. And it's just like, it was just in the game. Like, it's in the spirit of it all. Blah. But when it's actually malicious, like the Zorko thing, I still hate Zorko from that. Like, that just is real bad personality vibes for me. Like, that tells me that you're just a dickhead.
And I think maybe
everywhere
the
in
difference
your
is,
life.
I think it seems to me that Patrick Voss isn't a dickhead. He's a bit of a dum-dum, but I don't think he's like a mean or malicious person. I don't know. I don't get that vibe from him.
He does have dumb vibes. Chris, take us home.
I don't think he should have been fined. I do think he's a dick.
Okay. Not how big is the dick? Did you get
Where's the tape? Show me on the board.
Not specifically for this. I just don't like his, like, he comes across as very arrogant and cocky. Some of the shit he does on the field. And that was how this came across. I don't think he should have been fined. You know who should have been fined? Ben Keays.
You know what? I'd actually agree with that. I think if Voss got like, hey, look, you got to talk to him about this, and Keays got $1,000, don't do that again.
Yeah.
Let's make Keays pay Voss's fine.
You know what? I think that's a solution that works for everybody. A solution that doesn't work for everybody was the clock glitch that happened in the GWS and Saints game, where the AFL have come out, guys, and said that a clock glitch caused 29 seconds of play to go missing from the clock in a game that was lost by 4 points.
It's important to be clear that it wasn't 29 seconds at the end of the game. It was 29 seconds in the second quarter.
Well, time is linear, Chris, so it will have been at the end of the game at some point.
Exactly. So basically what's happened is that Max Hall from St Kilda kicked a goal, and then as he kicked that goal, the clock just changed from 29 seconds left to it's now halftime. And the siren went. And no one questioned it. And the AFL didn't do anything. And now they've come out today and been like, oh, yeah, there was a glitch. Sorry about that. It just gets me that this is...
It's a clock. You don't have another clock?
It gets me that this is a billion-dollar corporation for a national sporting competition, and they have fuck-ups like this with the technology. That's the thing that makes me laugh the most.
Tapping his watch going, hang on a minute, hang on.
And like that one person's watch stopped and the other person was like, I don't have a watch. I blow the siren. I don't fucking know.
Everybody's in that little timekeeping box. Like, get your clocks out. They've all got like MC.
We've only got one.
This reminds me of like a few New Year's a few years ago. I don't know if you have Android or iPhones, but on your Android, if you've got you can tap your clock and it on the lock screen, and it shows you the seconds as well as the time.
I did not know that. Hang on.
Well, it does on my Samsung anyway.
La-di-da.
And so when it came to like the countdown on New Year's Eve, I was in charge of the countdown because my clock had the seconds on it. And so I'm showing everybody 30 seconds to go.
And
so
did you have
it could
a
have been
backup
me.
clock just in case you lost 29 seconds?
If I wasn't there, we would lose that last 29 seconds and we would hear everybody else celebrating Happy New Year. And we would be like, what time is it? But, we had my clock, thank goodness.
Now, the Giants were getting absolutely smacked for literally 3/4 of this game and then came back in that fourth quarter to lose by 4 points. Jess, if you're the Giants, how hard done by are you feeling knowing that they've come out and admitted that there was an issue?
Oh, look, I think if the Giants were my team, yes, I'd feel robbed in some kind of way, but I don't think you can really say definitively whether that would have changed the course of history or not, because it's a bit like the Melbourne Freo game. Like, you let them get ahead of you. You were chasing them the entire way. I feel like it was a little bit of luck that you managed to even get within 4 points.
I mean, if you want to win, just win the whole time.
Just win.
Just win the whole time.
It's your
just
job.
Stretch your hammies.
Stretch your hamstrings and kick more goals and win the game.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Simple as.
This game was also delayed by lightning, wasn't it? Just start time. So maybe it was the lightning that hit the clock.
Well, I would feel more hard done by
Back to the
that,
Future.
right? Like, I was ready to go and you said no because I might die. So, here we go again. I don't think 29 seconds would have changed that much. If it was at the end of the game, sure. But I don't think, especially after you're resetting, but unlike going, after a goal and then it's halftime, I just don't think it's consequential enough.
Well, speaking of a team that should face some consequences, Essendon got destroyed by Port Adelaide. Essendon, they're a team that are on the race to the bottom, and I'm concerned.
I want to redo my ladder where I put them 8th for a laugh because it's not worth the laugh anymore.
I'm surprised. My brother called me earlier because I don't know if I mentioned it's my birthday. And
yes, we acknowledged it.
Yeah, he's an Essendon supporter, and he was still willing to talk about football. And I don't know how you could do that if you're an Essendon supporter.
I mean, Jesse left this podcast.
Yeah, Jesse quit because of Essendon.
There was a moment during this game where I was like, yeah, I get why Jesse doesn't want to do a footy podcast anymore. This makes sense.
Joke's on him. We never used to talk about him anyway. I think Port Adelaide needed this after losing to North. But Essendon needed this more. So, we talked about Merritt last week, sort of losing that spark in his eyes, and as much as I want to talk about Port Adelaide, they're 1-1. They've got a brand new coach. They could be anything. Rosie's now out for most of the season, so I don't know whatever happens. But Essendon just seemed like it's mud in the tires. What's going on?
I have two things to say about this game. Ken Hinkley might be the worst commentator I've ever heard. Please never get him back for special comments, Fox Footy. That was horrific.
He's the Rashudo that turns up when it's Port games.
Yeah, at least Ken Hinkley didn't sound like a 12-year-old boy going through puberty like Mark Rashudo does.
What a drive-by.
Ken Hinkley was bad. And it's not just for his, it's just cramp comment. The other thing is, has anyone seen the comments that Brad Scott made after the game in the press conference?
No.
He was a bit fiery.
Go on.
He said some things that, he probably shouldn't have said. So he said that he admitted his players looked demoralised. They were guilty of playing selfish football. I don't know how you can play selfish football when they barely touched it.
Got him, Chris. Good work.
They weren't hard-nosed enough in defence. I'm a coach who very rarely questions lack of effort or lack of fight because you know these guys well enough that they'll always give that. But there's no doubt we're demoralised and that can appear to look like a lack of effort and a lack of fight. But then he went and called out Nate Caddy specifically. Nate Caddy, who kicked, I think, 4 goals. He said, Nate Caddy is a terrific young man and he's a great footballer, but you miss a goal from 3 metres out directly in front and your team's demoralised.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know if...
Does he know Archie Perkins is still on his list?
Yeah. I don't know if calling out a young forward who's just kicked 4 goals in a 60-point loss, I don't know if singling him out is the best thing to do. But yeah, he he wasn't happy. He went off in the press conference. Right before we started recording, I saw a clip from Caroline Wilson on whatever fucking show she's on Channel 7.
Is it Gender Setters? Is that her
I
bullshit?
don't know. There's
I hate
like
that one.
3.
It's the
and
worst.
they're all basically the same people on the same show, but they've all got different names. Where she was saying that there is a disconnect between Brad Scott and not the players, but the people at Essendon. She said something along the lines of that she thinks that his selfish football comment wasn't necessarily about the players, but was about people behind the scenes at the club. So,
yeah, and as we all
interesting.
know, it's super healthy that when you have anxieties or issues with people is to take it out on people who aren't directly involved.
Publicly.
And to take it out on those around you who have absolutely no idea about why am I getting hit with that. I don't know what to make of this. Turns out Zach Merritt not leaving wasn't the worst thing to happen to Essendon in the offseason. Because it was Brad Scott not leaving. I still continue my love for Jaden Nguyen, though. I think Jaden Nguyen is really fun to watch play football. And he's got a funky haircut this year.
I really like Archie Roberts, and I also really like Zach Johnson down back.
Yeah.
So they do have some good young players. It's just they also have quite a few
They
shit
need a good
ones.
young coach.
Yeah.
Jess, Cass, are you guys available?
I will probably avoid watching any Essendon games if I can this year.
And
Unless
that
they're playing
includes if you
Fremantle.
were their coach.
Unless it's a Freo, yeah. Especially if she was their coach. I'm exclusively not
Other
watching
things
you
to
guys.
do with my time.
So
I see.
I want to briefly bring up the fact that Hawthorn are the new rat fucks of this competition, which someone has very thankfully put in our run sheet that actually exactly describes what they said. And it might have been me. I don't actually know who put
I
that
don't
there.
remember writing
Yeah.
that, so
I didn't
Nobody
write
else
it.
remembers. Yeah, okay, cool. So it might
No,
have
that's
actually
exactly
been
what
me.
I wanted to say. Yes, you wrote
Yeah, that is exactly. You know what? This guy, he's saying what I'm saying. It's me. Yeah, I didn't like watching Hawthorn play Sydney at all. I don't know
No.
why. There's just like a level of, I don't know if I mentioned it last week when we were talking about the Wiz hats, where they've got like Hawthorn branded Wiz hats. You know okay, this is such a specific example, you might not know, but when you watch like a YouTuber or like a TikTok influencer or something, and you see them like at the ground level and you're like, they're making some good stuff, like I really enjoy it, like there's a lot of heart, there's a lot of soul in it, and then they sell out. That's kind of what it feels like now where I'm watching them like, what have you become? What have you become, you absolute pieces of crap?
I believe the word is rat fuck.
Yeah, rat fucks. They got a lot of dog about them, which I think is great for the AFL, but terrible for wanting to like Hawthorn. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Feel free to react or not
How
react.
did they make them so likable last year and then the year before? And now we're like, nah, sorry, your time is done.
Yeah, it was because they were the underdogs.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's
didn't.
it. Yeah, I was just thinking that they were the underdogs. We were rooting for them. It's a bit like Richmond. Like if Richmond start being good again or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's like you guys have been a bit shit.
And then
That's
they'll
all right.
get
Or
too
like
good and we'll be like,
Weagles.
no.
And then we're
no,
like,
no.
hold on a second, stay in your box. You're like 12th to 18th. What are you doing up in the 8?
Yeah.
That's Hawthorn didn't capitalize on it while they had all the goodwill. So it's the old, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. They became the villain. They needed to win a flag 2 years ago.
Yeah, all the way to the top, baby, or straight back to the bottom.
Who do you think is the league's darling at the moment?
Oh, that's a really good question.
That is a good question.
Obviously Tasmania, but they don't count just yet.
They won their first game on the weekend.
They won.
They won.
And nobody knew the song.
Well, their song is, I sat there listening to it going, what is this? Like, what is the melody? I can't quite place it. Then I realized it was the Road to Gundagai was the melody. And then the Road to Gundagai.
It's good that you still sung it as well as they did.
Yeah.
It was,
I think that was actually better than their rendition.
I will say that
anyway.
I think that the competition's current darling, but I think they're on the end of it. They're about to run out of their goodwill because they're becoming too good. Is Gold Coast?
Oh, okay. That's my thinking as well.
Yeah, like they're on the verge of becoming the villain.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is they have to win the flag this year or they're off.
Yeah, well, I mean they're gonna win like the next 7, so
Flags or games?
yeah, flags. Yeah, flags.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
good. I want to be biased and say that personally, I've been liking the trajectory of Melbourne because they've gone straight back to the bottom, and then I purely base this on their social media. The social media of Melbourne has become so much less stilted lately that I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're actually a team that's moving into that personality era where you can be anything. They still have the potential to turn out to be absolute jerks, but you got to look at these underdog teams. Or my personal choice for the next one that's not Melbourne is North Melbourne. I think they've built a lot of goodwill, and banking a win last week against Port and then playing in probably, let's say, game of the week, I reckon, against West Coast Eagles.
Cellar dweller games, don't we? The bottom of
I was going to come in this week and be like, why do we put the worst game possible as the last game on Sunday? Like, is this how you want to remember football? Jess and I watched all 4 seasons of The Lincoln Lawyer, and multiple times in that show, they're like, oh, now the jury are going home with the prosecution's narrative in their heads. And I'm like, yeah, why would you want the last impression of everybody's football weekend to be West Coast and Essendon again?
I tell you what, though, my friends who are West Coast supporters, it was nice to see that they got some joy this weekend.
That's right, because West Coast finally won, baby. It feels like they've never won before and might never win again.
But don't worry, they'll remind you that they have many premierships.
But it's nice because they usually do it once a season. They get one. And it's nice that we get that out of the way like really early doors, and then we don't have to listen to that crap song anymore.
Well, it was 300 and something days since their last win.
Yeah, 305?
Yeah, now, because they've won, Essendon now have the longest on the win. Losing streak, which is now
14 games for Eagles.
It's 300 and something days for Essendon now as well. This game had no right being as entertaining as it was. However, I think this was a massive step back for North, especially because they were up by like 5 goals in the first quarter. Like,
that's when I was watching it and I messaged you guys, I was like, I watched the mini and I was like, how did North lose this? They were so far ahead.
They were just absolutely dominating, and then all of a sudden after quarter time they just barely played. It very much felt like last week was 1 step forward and this was 2 steps backward for North. It's disappointing is what I'll say.
Every time a West Coast player gets the ball, for the most part, I'm like, who the hell is that guy?
I was looking at both of these teams and I was like, they're both either really, really old or really, really young, their players.
There's no in between. There's no like 25 to 28 guy.
Yeah. They're either 35 or 15.
One player who I absolutely love at the moment and who was great in this game is Mulan Murdoch. 3 weeks ago was a Sparky. He was an electrician, got picked up in the SSP. Of course he was.
His name's Milan, Chris.
Got picked up as an SSP pick to West Coast. Played his debut last week. Had a great game. Probably their best player against Gold Coast. And then was just so fun to watch yesterday against North. He's just like an absolute little pocket rocket where he just bursts through packs and doesn't give a shit about his own well-being. He just wants to get the ball. He's so fun to watch.
I mean this in such a beautiful way. But did anyone else just feel like the Chris's fawning when he was like, he's a little pocket rocker, like he's a little scamp?
I love Milan Murdoch.
I was just sitting here singing the song from Mulan in my head.
I'll make Milan out of you.
Make a man out of you. So I wasn't listening, Chris. I was singing this in my head.
That's fair.
I think that's really good that West Coast are in a position to give opportunity to these guys as well. Like that's such a right time, right place. But I do feel like it's that Simpsons meme of when like they're at the petting zoo and there's like the really cute sheep, and then they go and like, oh, there's an even cuter sheep, and then they go like there's a little baby, like a little lamb, and like, oh, that's the cutest one, and then the middle one sort of comes back. That's Tom McCarthy. Tom McCarthy, mid-season draft pick last year, came back. Everyone's like, whoa, he's so good. He's going to be a midfielder like next year. He's so good. He's so talented. Good on him. He's like, he's really tried hard to get his run of relegated to a lockdown defender this week. And now Milan is the new hotness. So get out of the way, you. Says everyone to poor Tom McCarthy. And who was it before that? Marriage. Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan
who got dropped this week? He got dropped this week.
Yeah, where's he?
I do like that West Coast are building their new premiership team by just picking up tradies. That's the drafting strategy.
It's
a couple
so
of number
good.
one draft picks and a couple of tradies. Let's
Yes.
do it.
It's so good that West Coast are playing the AFL like it's a keeper league in Supercoach. Who's available on the waiver wire this week? This was a great win for West Coast, and I think it's really important that they do get their one to keep the fire burning just a little bit and just keep moving that dial forward. But North is Sheasel needs to win a Brownlow and needs to be soon. I can't underestimate just how much he is literally everywhere.
That's the only thing, though, is he got so much of the ball, but it didn't seem to help them. And it almost feels like he's becoming one of those players who's just an accumulator, who's very good at getting the ball, but isn't super damaging. Because, yeah, he had 40-something touches. He had 25 at halftime. He was getting everything, but it just didn't seem to do much.
Yeah, cool.
I agree.
Sorry, I was trying to let somebody else jump in there. Stop the men from speaking
I was just
for once,
wondering if
guys.
I don't know if you
Cassie
guys
was still
saw-
singing Mulan in her
Let's
head.
get down to business.
Yeah.
I was
Cassie
thinking
moved on
about
to who is that girl I see?
that time that Chris was talking. I was thinking about that picture of Sheasel. Did you see it before his own fantasy football draft? Have you seen the photo of him?
No.
He's sitting there in a suit with glasses on, with laptop out, ready to go. I wonder if he took himself at his week if he got to. And sometimes I wonder if players have themselves in fantasy, and that's why they play particularly good.
Are they allowed to play fantasy?
I think if no money's exchanged, they're allowed to.
Well, I only saw at the start of this season, it was a little bit of a dig that Supercoach made at AFL Fantasy. The person who finished first in AFL Fantasy last year was denied the prize because he's Brodie Grundy's brother.
Oh. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
it.
boo.
And Supercoach said, basically got him on this year and said, here's his team. He'll be eligible for our prize. And it was like a little dig that they had at AFL Fantasy.
Yeah, I still think that was hilariously unjust. I do worry that Gisele is going to be that type of player, but also you think Nick Dacos has peaked, so I feel like it's,
I said Nick Dacos had picked 2 years ago.
And how's he this
So-
year?
He's doing pretty good.
Oh, good to
About
know.
as well as he was 2 years ago.
how do you do this week?
He had a rest. He was allowed
Yeah,
to sit down.
look,
Let the
look.
guy sit down, Clarky. Jesus. Actually, no. Look, I can't say nice things about West Coast. So what I will do is say,
Okay, go on.
a friend of mine, also a Fremantle supporter, was watching this game, and he said, "You know what? I'm probably going to regret saying this, but it's nice to watch a game and think these two teams are nowhere near as good as Fremantle." So that's nice to kind of watch them. Like it was a fun game because of the level that they play at, right?
This
Yes,
week,
it was like watching under 14s netball.
Yeah.
You're right, Cass. Is that what you're saying?
this week you get 2 chances at that because we've got Essendon North on Saturday night, prime time,
North
And-
look really good.
and on Sunday, Port versus West Coast. Everyone's going to look worse than
On
Freo this
Sunday.
weekend.
And they've got the worst game of the round, Carlton, Melbourne.
Yeah, this
It's the worst
entire
game.
round is terrible.
Yeah, I was actually going to look at it because, look, we'll wrap it up there. I think we've talked enough about football, but I was going to say, hey, maybe we should see what games next week are going to be our predicted game of the round. And I think it's going to be none of them. Looking at the fixture.
I think
It
it's
might
Geelong
be.
Adelaide is
Yeah.
the main contender.
So Thursday night, Geelong Adelaide, game of the round, guys, potentially.
Probably.
also
Oh,
got-
it's grim, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Got
is grim.
Collingwood playing GWS on the Friday.
This is what happens when the teams that are on the bye is Gold Coast, the Bulldogs, Sydney and Hawthorn. It's basically the top 4.
Okay.
Right,
well,
slide
that
maybe
one in
not at the
there.
end of this round.
Actually, it
feel
is the
like
top 4. It is the top 4.
Yeah.
It depends who turns up, though. Like, the Giants are real hit and miss. Like, if the good Giants turn up, Collingwood Giants could be a real banger.
If
Yeah.
if
If the bad
GWS
Giants turn up, it's going to be shit.
if they get a full game, including that extra 29 seconds this week, then
Correct.
there'll be a chance.
Imagine if they're like, and now here's that extra 29 seconds that we didn't get last week.
Let's have it this week.
Here you go.
I think they're going to ask Toby Green this week if he should double it or give it to the next team.
Yeah.
Is that still a good meme? Let's end on a high, guys. That's the Falcon for this week. Thank you for listening. We're on the socials. We're on Instagram and X at Falcon Footy Pod. But make sure, most importantly, that you give us a rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Leave us a comment on YouTube. I'll check them occasionally. Leave us a comment anywhere. We might look at it. You can also find us individually. Chris, where can people find you?
At Lowry_16.
And Cass.
I'm at CassVag.
And Jess.
That's Wanky Jess with 2 Ys.
That's right. You can find me at QuantumJC or over at Footy Mailbag, which is a Supercoach podcast where everything is on fire because Petrarca and Rosie are out this week. In the meantime, we'll see you guys next week for round 3.
Let's
See ya.
get down to business.
To the feet.
The hum.
The entire team at the Falcon Footy Pod would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and cultures of the lands and seas on which we live and record this podcast. We pay our respects to all First Nations peoples, elders and ancestors and thank them for their continued connection and contribution to this country's national game.